Hey Braylon, I just want to take you through a couple problems involving special right triangles. The biggest thing you could have is a piece of paper with these two pictures drawn on it for the 45, 45, 90. The sides opposite the two 45-degree angles are congruent, and that's going to be essentially your x. Across from your 90-degree angle, that hypotenuse, the side length is x times root 2. In your 30, 60, 90 triangle, the side across from the 30-degree angle is your x. Across from the 90, the hypotenuse is 2x, and across from the 60 is x root 3. So what I did is I grabbed a couple simple problems and then a couple more complicated problems to take you through here. You should be looking for the angle measures. If that is 60 degrees, this is 30 degrees. Now notice across from your 60 degrees here you have 12 root 3. So in order to solve any of these triangles, you always need to revert back to your x value. So what I would do is I would look here and see, okay, that's across from the 60. Across from the 60 is x root 3. So 12 root 3 has to equal x root 3. And if you look here, by dividing by root 3 on each side, you'll get 12 equals x. And then just use that to fill in the other numbers. Across from the 30, if you look up here, that's where your x value is. So in this picture, across from the 30, a would be that x value of 12. Across from the 90 is the hypotenuse. Across from the 90 is 2 times your x value. So 2 times 12 gives you 24. But all the sides relate back to that x value. Now some of them are a little more complicated, like this next one, 30, 60, and 90. Now across from the 90, we now have 4 root 3. Across from the 90, the 30, 60, 90 is 2x. So 4 square root 3 equals 2x. You always need that x value. So divide by 2, get it by itself, and you would have 2 root 3 as your x value. Now across from the 30 is where your x value is going to be. I think this is side B. So across from the 30 is the x value, 2 root 3. And now figure out your other letters. So A is across from the 60-degree angle. So across from the 60-degree angle, you take your x value and multiply by root 3. So 2 root 3 times root 3 is 2 root 9, or 2 times 3, which would give you 6 for that A value. Now for the 45, 45, 90 triangles, they're typically a lot easier because two sides are the same. The two sides across from the 45-degree angles. So in this picture, our A would be the square root of 2. To get to B, the hypotenuse, it is across from the 90-degree angle. So if you look at your 45, 45, 90 picture, across from the right angle, you take one of the congruent sides times the square root of 2. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4, or just plain 2. So side B here would be 2. Alright, now a few little more complicated ones would be like these pictures here. But again, we're using the exact same two pictures from above here. 90-degree angle, this is a square, so these two sides would be equal. Across from the 90 in a 45, 45, 90, so you go to 45, 45, 90, is x root 2. So 4 root 2 equals x root 2, which means x equals 4. That's going to be true for each of those two sides. Alright, now the next one's a little more complicated. And I did see some pictures like this in your quiz, so just pay attention. First of all, figure out where your 30, 60, 90s and your 45, 45, 90s are, and go from there. Let's see. Well, here's a rectangle, so we know this is 120. Your hypotenuse. k is congruent to this one. Let's make this 30, 60, 60, and 30. Alright, so now that we have all of our angles measured, we can kind of see the side lengths that we were given. Oops, sorry. Mistake. One thing you can always come back to in right triangles is the Pythagorean theorem. So here we have two given sides. We need to find the third side. So 120 squared equals or plus a squared equals 130 squared. Do your math down to get a. Let's see what I get. 120 squared is 1440 plus a squared equals Alright, so I got 50 for A. So you would fill in 50 here, and then use your picture. This is a rectangle, so this side would also be 50. In a 45, 45, 90, these two are congruent sides, so there's your 50. And now look at your triangle. Here's your 30, 60, 90 triangle. Across from the 30, we now have 50. So look, back to our picture. Across from the 30 is the x value. So now if we need to find this, it's across from your hypotenuse. Across from your hypotenuse is 2 times the x value. So 2 times the x value of 50 is 100. Okay, but use your picture, draw it out, and just look for your triangles. Always figure out your x value by doing something like this. Always figure out that x value and use it to figure out all other values that you're missing.